What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have the real ending. What happened after Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj's sacrifice? We know he was a king who, pushed out all these foreign rulers, who was starting to unite his people, but was played by his brother-in-law, outright freaking dirty. This man went through torture. He went through hell on earth, but this man never betrayed his people. He never bent the knee to a foreign ruler. He never did none of that. And so now that's a real king. Now let's see what happened after he made his sacrifice. Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy, don't forget to smash subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit the join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's get right to it.
Welcome to the Immortal India podcast with me, Amish Tripathi. I'm sure that most of you would have seen the brilliant movie Chhawa recently. My wife and I,
Unfortunately, I haven't.
saw it together, and there wasn't a dry eye in the theatre at the end as we saw the supreme sacrifice by Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj and the brutal torture was subjected to. But the question that arises is that what happened after that? Some have claimed that the Timurid Mughal tyrant Aurangzeb won at the end. Not true.
Oh.
For eventually Aurangzeb did lose and the Marathas did win. A lot of the Mughal Maratha story was still left after the ending of Chhawa. So what happened after the last scene that we all saw in Chhawa? Let's find out.
Dang. Sometimes it just take a little extra time. But that's an incredible thing when you've inspired the people so much that the story does not end with you. Even when you're gone, it sounds like they still were fighting, and eventually they overcame and won.
In 1689, the Maratha spirit was struck by an act of unspeakable cruelty. Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, the valiant son of the legendary Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, was brutally tortured and executed at the merciless hands of Aurangzeb, the Timurid Mughal emperor. Aurangzeb thought that this cruelty would scare the Marathas into submission, but his plan backfired. Do you remember the movie Braveheart? The fictional take on a historical Scottish hero, William Wallace. King Edward of England, the then King Edward of England, had tortured and killed William Wallace, thinking it would subdue the Scots. Well, it didn't work. William Wallace's supreme courage united the divided Scots to fight their English oppressors. Similarly, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj's peerless valor at the end united the Marathas, whose earlier internal divisions had weakened them. They were united with one singular purpose: to seek vengeance against the Timurid Mughals and restore honor to their beloved motherland. But
I absolutely freaking love that. Like, it sucks that somebody has to make the ultimate sacrifice to make it happen. But again, it's amazing to lead people in such a way that you inspire them to come together to exact vengeance in your name. Um, that's absolutely amazing. Uh, and that legend will live on forever. Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj will live on forever. His life was cut short too soon, but his life was continued by in the hearts of so many, all the Marathas. I can't say it like him, but y'all know what I'm trying to say.
for all their rage and anger, the Marathas were also very smart warriors. They were fighting the most powerful empire in the world at that time, the Timurid Mughals, who had near absolute control over the richest areas in the world during that period. That is, the plains of the Ganga, or more specifically, today's UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, and Bengal. Many of you may be interested in knowing that in that period, this region contributed almost 10-15% of the world's GDP. Anyway, Money looted from
Jesus.
hapless residents of these regions funded the massive Mughal armies and also their opulent palaces. How could the small Maratha kingdom, with much fewer soldiers and money, take on a so much more powerful enemy? By fighting with the heart but also the brain. This was a long war fought over decades, defined by courage, strategy, smart, intelligent tactics, and the sheer will to defy an adversary who believed himself invincible.
That's
Our
what you
story
need.
today is divided into two remarkable phases. First, the era of Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj, Sambhaji Maharaj's younger brother, who continued the brave rebellion against the Timurids, guiding the Marathas to survive the onslaught and then hitting back at the right time. And the second, the era of Queen Tarabai, whose resolute command steered the rebellion through its darkest days till the time that Aurangzeb had been worn down to near bankruptcy. Following the martyrdom of Sambhaji Maharaj, the reins of Maratha resistance were swiftly taken up by his brave younger brother Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj. The loss
Really?
of their revered leader could have shattered the Maratha spirit, but
Fact.
Rajaram Maharaj's emergence as a leader galvanized them. With a burning desire for vengeance and also an understanding of strategic realities, Rajaram retreated deeper into the rugged terrains of the Deccan, choosing fortresses that would serve as bastions of resistance against the overwhelming Mughal forces. Chhatrapati Rajaram left Raigad and ultimately moved to Jinji, which is in modern Tamil Nadu, south of Chennai, that far south, okay? Forcing the Mughals to pursue him all the way there. To keep up the Timurid Mughal momentum and to block the Maratha army's routes to Jinji, Aurangzeb camped near Bijapur between 1690 and 1692. However, his decision backfired on him as it spread out his forces, which was perhaps
Oh.
exactly what the Marathas wanted, and the Marathas intensified their resistance. The Maratha counter-offensive began soon when they defeated Rustam Khan Sarza near Satara in May 1690. Following this, Santaji Ghorpade launched a series of open field battles, systematically crushing Mughal generals one after another. Two of his most significant victories were the killing of Qasim Khan at Doderi on 20th November 1695 and the slaying of Himmat Khan at Basavapatan on 20th January 1696.
Feel me? They thought once they killed Chhatrapati, it would be such an absolute blow to the Marathas that they would lose their fighting spirit, they would lose their will. But I did not know that Chhatrapati had a little brother, and that little brother picked up exactly where his big brother left off. It was now his job to unite the people. It was his job to exact vengeance. It was his job to push these foreign rulers out, to show them that they will not lose their fighting spirit, that they will not bend the knee, that they will fight for however long it takes. And then the Mughals messed up. They spread the army out too thin. You made a mistake and you fell right into little brother's hands. And as he took out all your chess pieces, he took your pieces off the board one by one. I know he was starting to get nervous. What is his name? Aurangzeb? Something like that. I know he was starting to get nervous. He was starting to get nervous. He was starting to get a little scared. Starting to fear a little bit. I know shaking in his boots because he knew he had to have known his time was coming soon.
These victories instilled great fear in the hearts of the Mughal commanders. Rajaram Maharaj's strategy was as much about survival as it was about defiance. In a landscape dominated by vast armies and heavy artillery, the Marathas under Rajaram Maharaj adapted by embracing mobility and cunning. But just as the Maratha resistance seemed to be gathering strength, tragedy struck once again. Rajaram Maharaj died in 1700. Some
Dang.
historians say it could have been due to lung disease. Aurangzeb had lived through the reigns of three Maratha Chhatrapatis, the legendary Shivaji, then Sambhaji, and Rajaram. Fate seemed to be favoring Aurangzeb. He must
Yeah.
have thought that he would finally snuff out the Maratha rebellion. But then a Maratha woman rose to fight the Timurid
What?
Mughal barbarian, Queen Tarabai. Following the demise of Chhatrapati Rajaram, the Maratha resistance faced grave peril once again. Queen Tarabai emerged as the regent of the empire, leading the armies and people in the
Yes.
name of her minor son. Her leadership transcended the traditional roles assigned to women of her time, particularly among the patriarchal Timurid Mughal and European nobility of that era. Under her command, the Maratha armies embarked on a series of daring campaigns against the Mughal forces. Queen Tarabai's approach was characterized by both calculated risk and guile. The broader aim was to wear down the financial and military abilities of the Timurid Mughals to prosecute the war. Under the leadership of Queen Tarabai, the Marathas adopted another crucial war strategy. Whenever Aurangzeb or his generals marched out to capture Maratha forts, the Marathas defended them until their supplies were almost exhausted. Once they realized that they were out of food and weapon supplies, they strategically surrendered the forts to the Mughals, either through open surrender or by pretending to lose. Then the Mughals would take possession of the forts and obviously fill them up with weapons and food to support their large armies. Once the forts were full with supplies, the Marathas would recapture these forts very quickly since they knew all the secret entrances, etc. This would happen usually within a very short period, sometimes even overnight.
So god dang smart. Queen Tarabai. I'm such a fan. That is an absolutely freaking genius move. And that takes me back to a movie called White Man Can't Jump. I didn't understand when the woman said it when I was a kid and I watched, I didn't understand what she meant when she told her husband, sometimes when you win, you really lose. And sometimes when you lose, you really win. That's the perfect quote to use in this scenario. She lost the fort. They lost the forts on purpose. Yeah, y'all come. Y'all won. Y'all won. We're gonna retreat. Okay, they gain control of the fort. Bring the food. Bring the weapons. We gotta support the army. And as soon as they did that, that's when they were like, just kidding. Came in, whooped their butts, took their weapons, took their food, drove them up out of there. But they had to make it look like a defeat in order to gain that victory. Cunning. Very cunning. I love it.
Basically, the Marathas were using Timurid Mughal money to supply their own armies through this cunning tactic. Shate Shatyam Samacharet, as had been said in the Mahabharata. दुष्ट के साथ दुष्टता ही करनी चाहिए. During this turbulent phase of relentless war spread over decades, the Mughal coffers were drained and their armies overstretched. Mughal officials remained unpaid for years, sometimes as long as 4 years. This led to extreme situations where officials would attack their superiors, publicly disgrace them, or even resort to murder. Aurangzeb, who had been based in the Deccan also for decades, was powerless to address these issues due to the lack of funds. The Jagir system, which is basically the land grant system, also collapsed as the Marathas prevented the complete Mughal control of the Deccan. This resulted in large tracts of contested territory, land that was neither fully under Mughal control nor completely under Maratha rule. At one point, Aurangzeb explicitly stated that no more nobles should be brought before him for mansabs. Mansabs were basically official Mughal ranks. No noble should be brought before him for mansabs because granting them would require land allocations, and there was no territory left to distribute. An empire or army cannot run if it doesn't have funds. Look at the British Empire after the Second World War. The Marathas were the biggest cause for wearing down the once powerful Timurid Mughal Empire. But there were other rebellions too, all across India, as many indigenous people revolted against Aurangzeb's crimes and oppression. In the fertile Ganga plains, under the charismatic leadership of King Gokul Dev, the Jats rose in rebellion, challenging heavy-handed policies and asserting their right to self-governance. Around 1688, the Jats launched an attack on Agra itself and killed many Timurid Mughals. Remember, this was when Aurangzeb was still the emperor. He was in the Deccan then, but he was still the emperor. And the Agra-Delhi region was the heart of the Timurid Mughal Empire. It's like Indians attacking London when Queen Victoria still ruled the British Empire. It was like insane. This Jat attack on Agra is recorded in two historical sources, the Futuhat-i Alamgiri by Ishwar Das Nagar and the Storia do Mogor by Nicolai Manucci. The Italian names are a little difficult to pronounce. If I've made a mistake, to all my Italian listeners, my humble apologies, but Niccolao Manucci recorded this. In the northeast, Lachit Borphukan's masterful leadership led to a stunning victory against the Mughals at the Battle of Sarai Ghat, a naval battle fought on the Brahmaputra river. This was a testament to the resilience of indigenous forces from Assam. Meanwhile, the Sikh gurus played pivotal roles in this pan-Indian struggle. Guru Gobind Singh Ji's fierce battles against the Mughals showcased strategic brilliance, while Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's commitment to non-violent resistance and sacrifice resonated as a moral beacon. The ferocious rebellion of the Satnamis of the region of Haryana is also notable. They were also known as the Mundas. The Satnamis believed that if one Satnami was killed, 70 more would rise in his place to fight the Mughals. In Varanasi, the Naga Sadhus fought fiercely against the Mughal armies to protect the Kashi Vishwanath Ji temple. These uprisings, alongside numerous other local revolts,
I feel like you gotta absolutely freaking love it. The Mughals ran out of money. They couldn't pay the officials for years. And you feel me? I'm not working for free. So them officials probably I ain't doing this for free. Y'all gonna pay me or it's gonna be some problems. And you see it was some problems as they started attacking their superiors and disgracing them in public. Right? If the superiors getting disgraced and attacked, then that's setting an example that all the people under them like, hold up, we ain't gotta listen to them. And the Mughal Empire started to be crushed from the inside as well as the outside, I'm sure. Aurangzeb couldn't even say nothing because he knew they was broke. He knew he ain't had no money to pay him. But he couldn't say nothing because he still needed them to help him fight. And now you got to fight others as well? Come on, man. Come on.
Scored that the fight against Timurid Mughal tyranny was not confined to just one region, but was a nationwide movement for justice and freedom against foreign rule. As the decades-long struggle continued, the cumulative toll of endless battles and unyielding indigenous Indian resistance slowly destroyed the Timurid Mughal Empire. When Aurangzeb died in 1707, he was a broken man. He actually said that when I have lost hope in myself, what hope can I have in others? The mighty Timurid Mughal Empire, once the wealthiest and most powerful in the world, was on the brink of collapse under the relentless pressure of the Maratha resistance and other rebellions across the country. Within just a few years after Aurangzeb's death, the Maratha Empire ruled from the edges of Afghanistan down to the plains of Tamil Nadu. Many other indigenous kingdoms also emerged. The Marathas not only reclaimed their lost honor, but also laid the foundation for a new era of indigenous power and cultural renaissance. One could argue that many of the sinews of modern India were formed out of this titanic struggle against these foreign rulers. The sad news, though, is that we Indians did not learn our lessons completely. The lesson of ensuring internal unity. Because we did get rid of one bunch of foreigners, the Timurid Mughals, but within another century, another bunch of foreigners, the British, were ruling us. They used our internal divisions against us. They recruited our own people to join their army and conquer India for them. Ghar ka bhedi, Lanka dhai. That's why I believe that we must always keep reminding ourselves of these stories. Celebrate the tales of our ancestors who fought against foreigners like Aurangzeb,
Big
ancestors
time.
like the brave Marathas, the fierce Ahoms, the courageous Jats, the wise Sikh Gurus, the valiant Satnamis. We must know of their struggles against tyrants like Aurangzeb so that
Yeah.
we can draw inspiration, but more importantly, also learn the lessons that we must always be united. Otherwise, foreigners will conquer and oppress us. Lastly, I think that we should not celebrate foreign invaders and tyrants in our own country. No normal country anywhere in the world does that. For
Mm.
example, France does not celebrate the Nazis who conquered them during the Second World War, and Israel does not name places in their country after Hitler. Then why do
Mm.
we have places named after Aurangzeb in India? I think that every single place, be it city, locality, road, or anything else, that
Yeah, I didn't know y'all had play. Anything named after Aurangzeb gotta go. Got to go with me. Yeah, you don't celebrate your foreign rulers, your invaders, right?
that is named after Aurangzeb should be renamed after indigenous people who fought him. It can be
Agreed.
Maratha emperors or Sikh gurus or Ahom generals or Jat kings. If you enjoyed this
Yeah,
episode,
I absolutely agree with my guy. The people that fought against these oppressors should be the one who are honored, but not the oppressors themselves. They shouldn't have anything named after. So anything with that name needs to be renamed, in my humble opinion. Let me know what y'all think about this video. I absolutely love the story. It just kind of shows um, that will, that fighting spirit, that fighting will. It doesn't die with you, right? If you're able to lead in such a way that you inspire so many that when you pass, that wheel gets passed on to the next person and the next person and the next person and to so many that even when you die, the dynasty does not end with you. That's all we've got. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, check out the next. I'll see y'all.